"I'll make your daughter walk again in exchange for a meal," said the homeless boy. Jennifer Wilson never imagined her life would change completely because of an absurd proposal from an unknown child. For 2 years, she had lived the nightmare of seeing her daughter Emma confined to a wheelchair, while doctors repeated the same devastating phrase about the impossibility of recovery. It was on a Thursday afternoon, as she pushed Emma's wheelchair through the central square of Riverside, that she heard a child's voice behind her. When she turned around, she saw a boy about 7 years old, too thin for his age, wearing clothes that had seen better days. "Are you the mum of the girl in the wheelchair?" the boy asked with a seriousness that didn't match his age. Jennifer stopped and looked at him suspiciously. Emma, curious, turned her head to watch the boy who had approached them. "Who wants to know?" Jennifer replied, instinctively pulling the wheelchair closer. "My name is Tyler, and I can make your daughter walk again," the boy said, pointing at Emma. "I just need a meal in return." Jennifer felt immediate anger rise in her chest. How could this child joke about something so serious? She was about to scold him when Emma grabbed her hand. "Mom, let him talk," the 6-year-old pleaded with that premature maturity she had developed after the accident. "Listen here, kid. I don't know what kind of joke this is, but my daughter had a serious accident. The best doctors in Los Angeles already said she'll never walk again. So stop talking nonsense and go play with kids your age." Tyler wasn't intimidated. Instead, he crouched in front of Emma and looked her in the eyes. "You fell down the stairs at home 2 years ago, right? And hurt your back. The doctor said you have an injury that can't be fixed." Jennifer froze. That information wasn't public. Only close family and the medical team knew the details of the accident. "How do you know that?" she asked, her tone now more serious. "I know a lot of things," Tyler replied, standing up. "I know you live on Magnolia Street, number 142. I know Emma's dad left after the accident. And I know you go to physical therapy every Tuesday and Thursday at the health clinic." A chill ran down Jennifer's spine. This boy knew too much about their lives. She thought about calling security, but something in the way he spoke made her hesitate. "Okay, so what? What does that have to do with you being able to make my daughter walk?" "Because I've seen cases like hers before, and I know how to help," Tyler said, with a confidence that impressed Jennifer. "But I'll only do it in exchange for food. A full plate, rice, beans, meat, and salad." Emma tugged her mother's sleeve again. "Mom, I want to try, please." "Emma, that's impossible. If the doctors couldn't help you, how can this boy?" "Doctors don't know everything," Tyler said. "There are things they don't learn in school." Jennifer studied the boy more carefully. Despite his young age and simple clothes, there was something in his eyes that conveyed an odd wisdom. Still, the idea seemed completely absurd. "How do I know you're not trying to trick me?" she asked. "Because I'll show you some exercises right now. If they work, you give me a meal, and I'll keep helping Emma. If they don't, I'll leave and never bother you again." Jennifer looked around. The square was relatively empty, with only a few people walking in the late afternoon. Emma stared at her with that pleading expression that always melted her heart. "Fine," Jennifer said against her better judgment. "But if you're playing with my daughter's hope, I won't joke about this," Tyler interrupted. "This is too serious for jokes." The boy crouched down again in front of Emma and began explaining some simple leg movements. Jennifer watched skeptically as Tyler asked Emma to try moving her toes in a specific way. To Jennifer's surprise, after a few minutes, Emma managed to slightly wiggle the big toe on her right foot. It was an almost imperceptible movement, but she had noticed it. "Emma, you moved your toe!" Jennifer exclaimed, incredulous. "I felt a tingling, Mom," Emma said excitedly. "It's the first time I've felt anything in my legs in 2 years." Jennifer looked at Tyler with a mix of astonishment and suspicion. It could just be a coincidence, but the timing was too strange. "How did you learn this?" Jennifer asked. "It's a long story," Tyler replied, standing up. "But first, how about that meal you promised?" Jennifer hesitated for a moment, but decided to honor the agreement. There was a simple diner across the central square, and she bought Tyler a combo meal. The boy ate with a voracity that made it clear he hadn't had a proper meal in some time. Dear listener, If you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. While Tyler ate, Jennifer took the opportunity to ask more questions. "Where do you live, Tyler?" "Around," he answered vaguely between bites. "Do your parents know where you are?" Tyler stopped eating for a moment and looked at Jennifer with a sad expression. "I don't have parents. I've been living alone for a while." Jennifer felt a pang in her heart. That boy couldn't be more than 7 years old and was living on the streets by himself. "And where did you learn these exercises?" "My sister had the same problem as Emma," Tyler said, going back to his food. "I took care of her." "And where is she now?" Tyler stopped eating again and stayed silent for a long moment. "She's not here anymore," he finally said, his voice quiet. Jennifer understood she shouldn't press further. It was obvious the boy had gone through some trauma related to his sister. "And you really think you can help Emma?" "I know I can," Tyler replied with conviction, "but it'll take time and patience, and more meals." Jennifer laughed for the first time in a long while. There was something genuine about that boy that made her want to believe him. "All right. How about we meet back here tomorrow at the same time?" Tyler agreed, and after finishing his food, he politely said goodbye to them. Jennifer and Emma walked home with a strange feeling of hope, something they hadn't felt in 2 years. That night, Jennifer couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about their encounter with Tyler and the small movement Emma had managed to make. It could be a coincidence, but what if it wasn't? The next day, Jennifer arrived at the square with Emma a few minutes early. Tyler was already there, sitting on the same bench where they'd met the day before. "I thought you weren't coming," the boy said as he approached them. "Why would you think that?" Jennifer asked. "People usually give up when things get hard, and what we're about to do isn't easy." Jennifer admired the maturity in that boy. He spoke as if he were much older than he looked. Tyler spent the next hour teaching Emma new exercises. They were simple but specific movements, ones he seemed to know very well. During the exercises, Emma managed to move more of her toes and even felt a different sensation in her left leg. "It's working," Emma exclaimed excitedly. Jennifer was torn between the joy of seeing her daughter hopeful again and the fear that it might just be a temporary illusion. After the exercises, she bought Tyler another combo meal. As he ate, Jennifer noticed that some people in the central square had started watching them curiously. "I think they're talking about us," Jennifer remarked. "Let them talk," said Tyler. "What matters is that Emma is getting better." In the following days, Jennifer and Emma began meeting Tyler religiously in the square. With each session, Emma showed small improvements. She could move more parts of her legs and even felt sensations she hadn't experienced in years. Jennifer started questioning whether she should tell Emma's doctor about the exercises with Tyler. On one hand, she wanted a professional to assess the progress. On the other, she feared the doctor might forbid the meetings. It was on a Friday that Jennifer decided to tell Dr. Michael, the physical therapist who had been treating Emma for over a year, everything. "Jennifer, you can't be serious," said Dr. Michael, visibly irritated. "A street kid teaching exercises to Emma? That's completely irresponsible on your part." "But doctor, she's showing signs of improvement," Jennifer argued. "Any movement she's making could just be muscle spasms. You're giving your daughter false hope, and worse, you're putting her at risk by trusting someone with no medical qualifications." Jennifer left the office feeling confused and guilty. Maybe Dr. Michael was right. Maybe she was being irresponsible. But when she got home and saw the spark in Emma's eyes as she talked about the exercises with Tyler, Jennifer decided she wouldn't stop the sessions. At least not yet. The following Monday, when they arrived at the square, Tyler noticed Jennifer seemed different. "You're worried about something," the boy observed. Jennifer told him about the conversation with Dr. Michael. Tyler listened quietly, then looked at Emma. "Emma, do you want to keep doing the exercises?" "Yes," the girl replied without hesitation. "I feel better every day." "Then we'll keep going," said Tyler, looking at Jennifer. "But if you're not comfortable, I understand." Jennifer looked at her daughter and made a decision. "We'll keep going. But I want you to explain exactly how you learned these exercises." Tyler sighed and sat on the bench beside them. "My sister's name was Olivia. She was 3 years older than me. When she was 8, she fell from a tree and hurt her spine, just like Emma. Jennifer and Emma listened in silence. The doctors said she'd never walk again, but she refused to accept that. Every day she kept trying to move her legs, trying to feel something. Tyler paused, as if reliving painful memories. I took care of her while my mom worked. I spent all day watching her do exercises. Sometimes I helped, held her legs, moved her feet. Over time she started improving. And did she ever walk again? Emma asked, fascinated. Tyler smiled sadly. Yes, it took almost a year, but she did it. In the end, she could run like any other kid. Where is she now? Emma pressed. Tyler was silent for a long moment. She passed away 2 years ago. Not because of her leg. It was a lung disease. Jennifer felt tears in her eyes. Now she understood why Tyler knew so much about rehabilitation and why he wanted to help Emma. I'm so sorry, Tyler, Jennifer said, touching the boy's shoulder. That's why I know I can help Emma, Tyler continued. Because I watched my sister go through it, I know which exercises work and which don't. Emma reached out and held Tyler's hand. Thank you for wanting to help me, she said. From that day on, Jennifer began seeing Tyler in a new light. He wasn't just a street kid making a strange offer. He was a boy who had lost everything but wanted to use his experience to help another child. The sessions in the central square continued for 2 more weeks. Emma showed steady progress. She could move both legs in a controlled way and even felt pain in some areas, which Tyler explained was a positive sign that her nerves were working. It was on a Thursday that everything changed. Jennifer and Emma arrived at the square at the usual time, but Tyler wasn't there. They waited for an hour, but he never showed up. Where do you think he is, Mom? Emma asked, worried. I don't know, sweetheart. Maybe something came up. They went home without doing the exercises. Emma was restless the rest of the day, concerned about Tyler. On Friday, they returned to the square, but Tyler still didn't appear. Jennifer began to worry too. The boy had been so punctual until then. It wasn't until Saturday that they found out what had happened. Jennifer was grocery shopping when she ran into Mildred, a neighbor who always knew all the neighborhood gossip. Jennifer, I heard you've been letting your daughter do exercises with a street kid, Mildred said in an accusing tone. So what? Jennifer replied defensively. So someone reported you to Child Protective Services. They say you're being neglectful with Emma, putting her in danger. Jennifer felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. Who made the report? I don't know, but it seems it was someone who saw you at the square. The boy was taken to a shelter, and you might have legal trouble. Jennifer rushed out of the store and went straight home to tell Emma what had happened. They took Tyler? Emma asked, starting to cry. It looks that way, sweetheart. But he was helping me. I could move my legs because of him. Jennifer hugged her daughter, trying to comfort her, but inside she was furious. Who had made that report and why? The following Monday, Jennifer got a call from Child Protective Services asking her to attend a meeting. When she arrived, she found a very serious social worker waiting for her. Mrs. Wilson, we received a report that you've been exposing your daughter to risky situations, said the social worker, whose name was Sarah. What risky situations? Jennifer asked, outraged. You allowed a homeless child with no medical qualifications to perform physical therapy procedures on your daughter. Procedures? They were just simple exercises, and my daughter was improving. Mrs. Wilson, you need to understand that your daughter's well-being comes first. That boy could have seriously harmed Emma. Jennifer tried to explain the progress Emma had made, but the social worker didn't seem interested in listening. Where is Tyler now? Jennifer asked. The minor has been placed in a specialized shelter, and you'll need to undergo a psychological evaluation before we can be sure you're fit to continue properly caring for your daughter. Jennifer left the meeting feeling like the world was crashing down on her. Not only had she lost Tyler, who was helping Emma, but now her ability as a mother was being questioned. When she got home, she told Emma everything. The girl cried and begged to see Tyler. I can't, sweetheart. They won't allow it. But I need to keep doing the exercises. Without them, I'll get worse. Jennifer knew Emma was right, for knew Emma was. Since they'd stopped the exercises with Tyler, the girl had already lost some of the mobility she'd regained. Dear listener, If you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us as we're just starting out. Now continuing, that night Jennifer made a risky decision. She went to the central square to try and find out which shelter Tyler was in. After visiting 3 different places, she finally found him at St. Joseph's Home, a shelter for children and teenagers. When Tyler saw her, his eyes filled with tears. "Aunt Jennifer, how's Emma doing?" "She's worried about you, and she's losing the progress she had made." Tyler looked visibly distressed. "I need to keep helping her. She was doing so well." "I know, Tyler, but it's hard now. They think I'm putting Emma in danger by letting you help her." "But I'd never hurt Emma. I just want to help." Jennifer believed him but explained that the situation was complicated. The shelter director appeared and informed her that visits had to be authorized in advance. Jennifer left feeling even more frustrated. It was as if the system was conspiring against them. In the following days, Jennifer tried to continue the exercises with Emma at home, based on what she had learned from watching Tyler. But it wasn't the same. Emma didn't show the same enthusiasm, and the progress was minimal. A week later, Jennifer received an unexpected call. It was from a journalist named Rebecca, who worked for the local newspaper. "Mrs. Wilson, I heard about your story and would like to write an article about it." "An article? About what?" "About a street kid who was helping your daughter recover from paralysis and was taken away because of an anonymous complaint." Jennifer was surprised. How had the journalist found out? "One of your neighbors reached out to us. She said she saw the exercises in the square and was impressed by the results." Jennifer agreed to the interview. Maybe with the media's help, she could draw attention to the case and even reunite Tyler and Emma. The article was published in the Sunday edition of the local newspaper. The headline read, "Street boy separated from child he was helping regain mobility." The response was immediate. Jennifer received dozens of calls. Some people supported her decision to trust Tyler, while others harshly criticized her for putting her daughter at risk. Dorothy, a 72-year-old woman who lived in the same neighborhood, was one of the people who called to support Jennifer. "Dear, I read the article in the paper and I was outraged. That boy was doing good and got punished for it. I want to help you." Dorothy wasn't just anyone. She had been a nurse for over 40 years and had a respected reputation in the community. Her support meant a lot. "What can you do?" Jennifer asked. "I'll talk to the people at Child Protective Services. I've known some of them for years, and I'll see if I can gather a group of people to support you." Jennifer was moved by Dorothy's kindness. Finally, someone was on their side. Meanwhile, Tyler was struggling at the shelter. The other kids mocked him for being arrested for playing doctor. He tried to explain he was just helping a friend, but no one believed him. The shelter coordinator, a strict woman named Barbara, had forbidden Tyler from talking about the exercises. According to her, he was fantasizing about having medical skills. "Tyler, you need to understand you're just a kid. You can't go around pretending you know how to heal people," Barbara said during a conversation. "But I'm not pretending. I helped my sister, and I was helping Emma too. Your sister doesn't exist, Tyler. You made up that story in your head to cope with the trauma you've been through." Tyler was shocked. How could this woman say Olivia didn't exist? He remembered his sister perfectly, the exercises they did together, how she had managed to walk again. But every time he tried to talk about Olivia, the adults at the shelter said he was making it up. They even started taking him to talk to a psychologist who insisted that his sister was an imaginary friend he had created. Tyler felt completely alone and misunderstood. The only thing that comforted him was thinking about Emma and hoping she could keep improving without him. Meanwhile, Dorothy was keeping her promise. She organized a group of neighbors who knew Jennifer and Emma and managed to schedule a meeting with social worker Sarah. "Sarah, I've known this family for years," Dorothy said during the meeting. "Jennifer is a dedicated and responsible mother. If she was letting that boy help Emma, it's because she believed she was doing what was best for her daughter. Dorothy, I respect you, but we have protocols to follow. We can't allow unqualified children to perform medical procedures on other children. But what if the boy really knew what he was doing? What if he was genuinely helping Emma?" Sarah sighed. It was obvious she was under pressure, both from the support group and her superiors who wanted to uphold the decision. Look, what I can do is authorize a medical evaluation for Emma to see if there was any real improvement during the time she was doing exercises with the boy. Dorothy accepted the proposal. It was a first step. The evaluation was scheduled for the following week with an independent physical therapist who wasn't familiar with the case. Jennifer took Emma to the appointment with a mix of hope and nervousness. The physical therapist, Dr. Robert, was an experienced man who had worked in rehabilitation for over 20 years. He examined Emma carefully, testing her reflexes, sensitivity, and movements. "Interesting," Dr. Robert remarked during the exam. "Emma, when was the last time you could move your toes with this precision?" "It was when I was doing exercises with Tyler," Emma replied. "But now I can't do it like before." Dr. Robert continued the exam and then spoke privately with Jennifer. "Mrs. Wilson, I must admit I'm surprised. Emma shows signs of significant improvement in her leg mobility at some recent point, though she's regressed a bit now. Does that mean the exercises with Tyler were working?" "It's possible. Some unconventional physical therapy methods can be surprisingly effective, especially when applied by someone with practical experience, even without formal training." Jennifer felt a wave of relief. Finally, a professional was acknowledging that Tyler had made a difference. "What do you think we should do now?" "Well, if this boy really knows effective techniques, maybe we should give him a chance to show what he knows, but under proper medical supervision." Jennifer left the office feeling hopeful. She now had a medical report proving Tyler had helped Emma. Maybe she could convince Child Protective Services to let them meet again. But things weren't that simple. When Jennifer presented the report to Sarah, the social worker was in a tough position. "Mrs. Wilson, even though the exam shows improvement, we still have the issue that the boy is a child in a vulnerable situation. We can't just release him to keep doing the exercises." "But what if it was under supervision? Dr. Robert said he could oversee it." Sarah thought for a moment. "I'll take your proposal to my supervisor, but I can't promise anything." Jennifer went home with a mix of hope and frustration. She was making progress, but every step was a battle. That night, Emma was particularly sad. "Mom, I miss Tyler. He understood my pain." "I know, sweetheart. I'm trying to make it so you can see each other again. What if they don't let us? Am I going to be stuck in this chair forever?" Jennifer hugged her daughter, feeling the weight of responsibility. She needed to find a way to reunite Tyler and Emma, even if it was the last thing she did. That's when Dorothy had an idea. "Jennifer, what if we organized a protest? Show the authorities that the community supports you." "A protest? I'm not sure that's a good idea." "Sweetheart, sometimes you have to make noise to be heard. I know a lot of people in this neighborhood. I'm sure I could gather at least 50 people to stand with you." Jennifer thought about the proposal. On one hand, she didn't want to turn Emma's situation into a media circus. On the other, maybe this was the only way to pressure the authorities. "All right, Dorothy, let's try it." The protest was scheduled for the following Saturday in the central square, where Jennifer, Emma, and Tyler used to meet. Dorothy spread the word through the neighborhood and local social media. On the day of the protest, Jennifer was surprised by the number of people who showed up. There were at least 80 people in the square, including several families with disabled children who related to Emma's story. Mildred, the gossipy neighbor who had spread the news about the complaint, was also there. But this time she was on Jennifer's side. "Jennifer, I want to apologize," Mildred said. "When I saw you in the square with that boy, I thought it was dangerous. But after reading the article in the local newspaper and understanding the situation better, I realized I was wrong." Jennifer was moved by the apology. It was comforting to see how people could change their minds when they truly understood a situation. The protest was peaceful but emotional. Several people spoke about the importance of giving opportunities to street children and how prejudice often blinds us to people's potential. Emma, even in her wheelchair, was one of the most touching speakers. "I just want my friend Tyler back," she said into the makeshift microphone. "He was helping me walk again. Why is that wrong?" The simple question from a 6-year-old struck a deep chord with everyone present. The protest was covered by the local press and eventually reached the mayor. who asked to be briefed on the case. The following Monday, Jennifer received a surprising call from the mayor's office requesting her presence at a meeting. When Jennifer arrived at City Hall, she found not only the mayor but also Sarah, the social worker, Barbara, the shelter coordinator, and to her surprise, Dr. Robert, the physical therapist. "Mrs. Wilson," said the mayor, a young man named Richard, "I've been following your case and would like to propose a solution." Jennifer listened carefully. "We'll authorize supervised visits between Tyler and your daughter, as long as they're under Dr. Robert's medical supervision. It'll be a pilot project to assess the therapeutic benefits." Jennifer could hardly believe what she was hearing. "Does this mean Tyler can help Emma again?" "Yes, but with conditions. The visits will be at the health clinic twice a week, always with Dr. Robert present. Both Tyler and Emma will undergo regular evaluations." Jennifer accepted all the conditions without hesitation. It was more than she could have hoped for. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. The first reunion between Tyler and Emma after their separation was emotional. They hugged like siblings who hadn't seen each other in years. "I knew Aunt Jennifer would find a way to bring us back together," Tyler told Emma. "I never doubted it," replied Emma with a smile. Dr. Robert observed the interaction between the two children with professional interest. It was obvious there was a special bond between them. "Tyler, I'd like you to show me exactly what exercises you were doing with Emma." Tyler carefully demonstrated each movement, explaining the reasoning behind every exercise. Dr. Robert was impressed by the boy's knowledge. "Tyler, where did you learn about the connection between these specific movements and neural stimulation?" "My sister Olivia taught me. She discovered some things the doctors didn't know." Dr. Robert noticed how naturally and in detail Tyler spoke about his sister. It didn't seem like a fantasy, as they had suggested at the shelter. After the first session, Dr. Robert spoke with Jennifer. "You know, Jennifer, this boy has an instinctive understanding of rehabilitation that's remarkable. Some of the exercises he taught Emma are variations of advanced techniques I've only seen at international conferences. Does that mean he can really help Emma?" "I'd say he already is. In just one session, I could see small improvements in Emma's neurological responses." The sessions continued for several weeks. Emma showed steady progress, and with each meeting, Dr. Robert grew more impressed by Tyler's skills. It was during the fifth session that something happened that changed everything. Tyler was helping Emma with a strengthening exercise when she managed to bend her right knee in a controlled way. It was the first time in 2 years she had been able to do that movement. "Dr. Robert, look!" Emma shouted excitedly. Dr. Robert examined the movement and was moved. "Emma, this is fantastic. Tyler, what exercise did you do with her to get this response?" Tyler explained a specific sequence of movements he had learned from Olivia. Dr. Robert carefully noted everything down. "Tyler, I'd like to meet your sister. She seems to have very advanced knowledge about rehabilitation." Tyler fell silent for a moment, then looked at Jennifer. "Aunt Jennifer, can I tell him about Olivia?" Jennifer encouraged Tyler to speak. "Doctor, my sister isn't here anymore. She passed away 2 years ago, but before that she spent almost a year relearning how to walk after an accident." Tyler told Dr. Robert Olivia's whole story, how she had fallen from a tree, how the doctors had said she'd never walk again, how she had refused to accept that and developed her own exercises. "She was really smart," Tyler said proudly. "She read every book about the human body she could find at the library, and she tested everything on herself." Dr. Robert listened, fascinated. He was beginning to understand where Tyler's knowledge came from. "And you helped your sister with the exercises?" "Every day. I was little, but she taught me how to help. She said I had special hands for finding the right spots." Dr. Robert looked at Tyler's small hands. There was something about the way the boy touched and moved Emma's legs that was intuitive and effective. After that session, Dr. Robert asked to speak with Barbara, the shelter's coordinator. "Barbara, I need to clarify something about Tyler. His sister isn't imaginary. From the details he shared and the knowledge he demonstrates, it's obvious he really had this experience." Barbara was surprised. She had treated Tyler as if he were a troubled boy making up stories. "But doctor, he's so young. How can he know so much about rehabilitation?" Children who go through extreme situations develop extraordinary skills. Tyler isn't just a street kid. He's a child who went through a unique experience and gained valuable knowledge. The conversation with Dr. Robert changed Barbara's perspective on Tyler. She began treating him with more respect and stopped questioning his memories about Olivia. The physical therapy sessions continued for another month. Emma showed impressive progress. She could move both legs with control, felt sensations in areas that had been numb, and could even stand for a few seconds with support. Jennifer was overjoyed. She saw her daughter regaining not just movement, but also confidence and a sparkle in her eyes. Tyler was also transforming. The respectful environment of the physical therapy sessions and the recognition of his knowledge were boosting his self-esteem. It was on a Thursday that Dr. Robert made a surprising proposal. "Jennifer, I'd like to suggest something. How about we organize a presentation of Tyler's work for other professionals in the field? I think what he knows could help many other children." Jennifer was excited by the idea, but worried about Tyler. "Tyler, what do you think?" "If it can help other kids like Emma, then yes, I want to do it," the boy replied without hesitation. The presentation was scheduled for 2 weeks later in the community hospital's auditorium. Dr. Robert invited physical therapists, doctors, and other rehabilitation professionals. On the day of the presentation, Tyler was nervous. It was the first time he would speak to so many adults about his knowledge. Jennifer and Emma sat in the front row to offer moral support. Dorothy was also there, proud as if Tyler were her own grandson. Dr. Robert introduced Tyler to the audience and explained how they had met. Then, he asked Tyler to demonstrate some exercises with Emma. Tyler started timidly, but as he explained the exercises, his confidence grew. He spoke about each movement with a precision that impressed the professionals present. "This exercise here stimulates the nerves in the lumbar region," Tyler explained, moving Emma's leg in a specific way. "My sister Olivia discovered that if you do this movement 3 times to the right and twice to the left, the neural response is better." One of the physical therapists raised a hand. "Tyler, what theory is this movement pattern based on?" "I don't know the name of the theory," Tyler answered honestly. "I just know it works. Olivia tested different combinations until she found this one." After the demonstration, Dr. Robert presented the results of Emma's progress. The data showed significant improvement in every aspect evaluated. The audience was amazed. Some professionals asked Tyler technical questions, which he answered with the practical wisdom he had gained from Olivia. At the end of the presentation, a physical therapist named Dr. Amanda approached Tyler. "Tyler, I'd like to propose something. How would you feel about helping me with some of my patients? I have children with cases similar to Emma's who could benefit from your knowledge." Tyler looked at Jennifer, who encouraged him to accept. "I'll do it, as long as I can keep helping Emma too." "Of course, Emma will always be your priority." Tyler's life changed completely from that day on. He divided his time between St. Joseph's Home, his sessions with Emma, and his volunteer work with Dr. Amanda. Barbara, the shelter's coordinator, also changed her approach with Tyler. She arranged for him to attend a nearby school and even began exploring the possibility of an adoptive family who would understand and support his special talents. Jennifer also went through changes. The entire experience had taught her to trust her intuition as a mother more and not to be intimidated by authority figures when she believed she was doing what was right for her daughter. 2 months after the hospital presentation, something extraordinary happened. Emma was doing her daily exercises with Tyler at the health clinic when she managed to take 3 steps on her own without any support. "Mom, Tyler, I'm walking," shouted Emma, overjoyed. Jennifer and Tyler rushed to hug her. All 3 of them were crying with happiness. Dr. Robert, who was overseeing the session, was also moved. "Emma, you've just made history. Tyler, you too." The news of Emma's recovery spread quickly. The local press reached out to Jennifer again for a new story. This time, the headline read, "Girl walks again, thanks to street kids' knowledge." The impact was even greater than the first story. Jennifer received calls from families in other cities who had children with similar challenges. Tyler became known as the boy who teaches walking. Despite the fame, he remained humble and focused on helping the children. 3 months later, Jennifer made a decision that would change Tyler's life forever. "Tyler, I have a proposal for you," she said during one of their sessions. "What proposal, Aunt Jennifer?" "How would you like to come live with me and Emma? Officially, I want to adopt you." Tyler fell silent for a long moment. Jennifer grew worried, thinking he might refuse. "Aunt Jennifer, are you sure? My life has been so different from yours. Tyler, you saved my daughter. More than that, you've become part of our family. Emma loves you like a brother, and I love you like a son." Tyler began to cry. Since losing Olivia, he hadn't had a real family. "I accept," he said, hugging Jennifer, "but only if I can keep helping other kids." "Of course you can. In fact, I was thinking of turning this into something bigger." Jennifer explained her idea of creating a rehabilitation center that combined traditional medicine with the intuitive methods Tyler had learned from Olivia. "It would be a tribute to your sister," Jennifer said. Tyler was deeply moved by the proposal. It was a way to keep Olivia's memory alive while helping other children. The adoption process took a few months but was finally approved. Jennifer, Emma, and Tyler officially became a family. The rehabilitation center opened a year later under the name Olivia Institute. Tyler, now 9 years old, worked there every afternoon after school, always supervised by qualified professionals. Emma, who now walked normally, also helped at the institute. She had a special gift for encouraging other children going through what she had experienced. The institute became a regional reference. Families came from various cities seeking services that blended traditional medical techniques with the unique methods Tyler had learned. Dr. Robert became the medical director. He and Tyler developed a rehabilitation protocol later studied by universities and recognized by the medical community. Dr. Amanda also joined the team, fascinated by how Tyler connected with patients and identified exactly what exercises each child needed. Dorothy, who had been instrumental in bringing Tyler and Emma together, became a volunteer at the Institute. At 72, she had plenty of energy to organize charity events and assist families arriving at the center. 2 years after the Institute's opening, Tyler received an honor from the City Council. At 11, he was officially recognized as an honorary citizen of the city. During the ceremony, Tyler gave a speech that moved everyone present. "I want to thank everyone who believed in me when I was just a street kid making a strange proposal in the central square. Especially Aunt Jennifer, who took a chance by trusting me to help Emma." Tyler paused and looked up at the sky. "But I want to dedicate this honor to my sister Olivia, who taught me that we should never give up on helping people, even when everyone says it's impossible." The audience rose in applause. Jennifer and Emma were in the front row, proud of the boy who had become an extraordinary young man. After the ceremony, a reporter asked Jennifer how she felt about the entire journey they had been through. "You know, when Tyler approached us in that square, I thought he was just another desperate kid trying to get a meal. I never imagined he would change our lives completely." Jennifer looked over at Tyler and Emma, who were playing with other children from the Institute. "Today, I understand that sometimes miracles come in disguise. Tyler wasn't just asking for food, he was offering something far more valuable: hope." The reporter asked Jennifer what advice she would give to other mothers going through similar situations. "Trust your motherly instinct," Jennifer replied, "and never underestimate the power of a determined child. Adults sometimes get so caught up in protocols and theories that they forget to listen to what their hearts are saying." The interview aired on the local newspaper and ended up being republished by several outlets across the country. The story of Tyler, Jennifer, and Emma became a symbol of how love and determination can overcome any obstacle. 5 years after that first meeting in the square, Tyler had become a 12-year-old teenager, nationally recognized for his work in pediatric rehabilitation. He had developed techniques studied in universities and used by physical therapists across the country. Emma, now 11, not only walked perfectly, but had also become an athlete. She ran track and had already won several medals in local competitions. Her story of perseverance inspired other children with disabilities. Jennifer had left her previous job to dedicate herself fully to the Olivia Institute. The center had grown and now served not only children with mobility issues, but also provided psychological support for families in difficult situations. The institute had also become a training hub. Healthcare professionals from all over the country came to learn the methods developed by Tyler and his team. Tyler never forgot his roots. Every Saturday he returned to the square where he had met Jennifer and Emma, not to ask for food, but to talk to other homeless children and offer help. "We never know what talent a child might have," Tyler would tell Jennifer. "Olivia always told me that everyone has a special gift. Sometimes we just need someone to believe in us to discover what it is." Jennifer always smiled when Tyler spoke about Olivia. It was comforting to see how he had turned the pain of losing his sister into motivation to help other children. One Sunday afternoon, 6 years after that first meeting, Jennifer, Tyler, and Emma were walking through the same square where it had all begun. "Remember when I knelt right there and offered to help Emma walk in exchange for a combo meal?" Tyler asked, pointing to the exact spot. "How could I forget?" Jennifer replied, laughing. "I thought you were crazy." "And I thought you were an angel," Emma said. "I'm no angel," Tyler answered. "I'm just a boy who learned from his sister that we should never give up on helping people." The three of them sat on the same bench where they had done so many physical therapy sessions. The square was full of children playing, families strolling, life unfolding. "You know what moves me the most about this whole story?" Jennifer said. "What?" Tyler and Emma asked in unison. "It all started with an act of compassion. Tyler didn't want money, didn't want fame, didn't want anything but a plate of food. And even then he was willing to give what he had most valuable, his knowledge." Jennifer looked at Tyler with affection. "You taught me that sometimes the greatest riches come from the simplest people, and that a generous heart is worth more than any diploma." Tyler was moved by Jennifer's words. "Aunt Jennifer, you and Emma gave me the family I thought I'd never have again. You gave me the chance to honor Olivia's memory by helping other children, and you gave us our lives back," said Emma. "Without you, I'd still be in a wheelchair, sad and hopeless." The three of them fell silent for a moment, each lost in their own memories of the extraordinary journey they'd shared. "You know what I find most amazing?" Tyler broke the silence. "What?" Jennifer and Emma asked. "If someone told this story to others, they might not believe it. A homeless boy teaching physical therapy, a child walking again with unconventional exercises. Sounds like something from a movie. But it really happened," said Jennifer, "and it changed our lives forever." "And it's still changing other families' lives at the Institute," Emma added. Tyler smiled. He'd found his purpose in life, using Olivia's teachings to help other children overcome their limitations. "Olivia would be proud," Tyler said, looking up at the sky. "She always said, knowledge only has value when it's shared." Jennifer and Emma followed Tyler's gaze. It was as if Olivia were there with them, blessing everything they'd accomplished. "She is proud," Jennifer said. "And we're proud of you too, Tyler." As the sun began to set, the three stood up to head home. Not the house Jennifer and Emma had lived in before, but the new home they'd built together, full of love, hope, and purpose. As they walked, Tyler remembered the promise he'd made to himself the day he met Jennifer and Emma. He'd always hold up his end of the deal, a plate of food in exchange for helping a child walk again. But what he didn't know that first day was that by making that simple offer, he was starting a journey that would change not just Emma's life, but his own, and hundreds of other families' lives too. The central square where it all began still stood there, a silent witness to how a chance encounter between a homeless boy and a desperate mother had turned into a story of resilience, love, and hope. And every time Tyler passed by, he remembered Olivia's words. "Ty, we never know the impact a small act of kindness can have on someone's life. Sometimes, a simple offer of help can change a person's entire world." That's exactly what had happened that Thursday afternoon 6 years ago. A boy had offered his help in exchange for food and ended up gaining a family. A mother had taken a chance on trusting a stranger and discovered a miracle. A girl had dared to try the impossible and ended up running again. And it had all started with a simple sentence spoken by a 7-year-old boy in the square. "I'll make your daughter walk again in exchange for a plate of food." End of story. Now tell us what you thought of this touching story of resilience and love. Do you believe small gestures can completely transform lives? Share your honest thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories.